In World War II, we remember the thunder of artillery and the clash of armies. But another battle raged beneath it all, a war fought with every step. For most soldiers, their feet were their primary mode of transport, carrying them across continents day after day under heavy packs. Marching 20 or 30 miles a day, often on little food and rest, took a brutal toll. The relentless impact battered muscles, joints, and especially feet, encased in stiff boots, swelling and chafing mile after mile. The inside of a boot became a breeding ground for blisters, and worse, sometimes sidelining a soldier before he ever saw the enemy. A man with ruined feet couldn't keep up, couldn't fight, and became a liability. Commanders knew an army that couldn't march was an army that couldn't win. The health of a soldier's feet was a matter of survival. This silent enemy, the simple act of walking, claimed countless casualties, sapping morale and thinning the ranks. The search for a solution was urgent, but the answer wasn't a new weapon or technology. It was a forgotten piece of wisdom, hidden in the laces of a soldier's boot. Sometimes the smallest details decide the fate of armies. The story of the war on foot is a story of endurance, pain, and a simple trick that changed everything. And it all started with how a boot was laced. The standard issue combat boot was tough, but it didn't care about the human foot. Stiff leather, hard to break in, and laced tight in a simple crisscross. These boots punished the very men they were meant to protect. As feet swelled during long marches, the unyielding laces cut off circulation, causing blisters, numbness, and even trench foot. The uniform tension ignored the foot's need to flex and swell, turning boots into instruments of pain. Soldiers fought their own equipment with every step. The result? Injuries that could take a man out of action for weeks. The boot, meant to be an ally, became a hidden enemy. Clearly, something had to change. The answer lay not in the boot itself, but in how it was laced. The breakthrough was simple: tension zone lacing. Borrowed from mountaineers, this method divided the boot into 3 zones, each with its own tension. The toe area stayed loose for comfort and swelling. The middle, over the instep and ankle, was pulled tight to lock the heel in place. The upper zone was firm but flexible for support. This allowed soldiers to customize their fit, preventing blisters and nerve damage. The boot became a tool, not a torture device. This wasn't official doctrine, but a secret passed from veteran to rookie. For those who learned it, the difference was immediate: less pain, more endurance. Sometimes the smallest adjustment can change the outcome of a march or even a war. Tension zone lacing starts at the toe. Lace loosely so toes can move and swell. At the ankle's flex point, tie a surgeon's knot. Wrap the laces around each other a few times and pull tight. This locks in the lower zone's tension, keeping it separate from the rest. In the middle zone, pull the laces tight to anchor the heel and prevent blisters. Another surgeon's knot locks this tension in place. The upper zone is laced firmly for support, but not so tight it cuts off circulation. The result? 3 zones, each doing its job. The boot now fits like it was made for you. This ritual turned a standard boot into a custom tool for survival. For soldiers, it was the difference between agony and endurance. Nowhere was tension zone lacing more vital than in mountain warfare. For troops in the Alps or Apennines, a slip could be fatal. On ascents, tight middle lacing locked the heel, preventing blisters and maximizing power. On descents, it stopped the foot from sliding forward, saving toes from brutal impact. The loose toe zone improved balance on tricky terrain. The upper zone could be adjusted for support or flexibility. This simple technique gave mountain soldiers a real edge. More miles, fewer injuries. In the mountains, the right lacing could mean the difference between life and death. Sometimes survival depended on nothing more than a knot. In the mud and water of northern Europe, the enemy was wetness. Constant damp softened skin, making feet vulnerable to blisters and trench foot. Standard lacing made things worse by cutting off circulation. Tension zone lacing kept the toe zone loose for blood flow, fighting off cold and infection. The tight middle zone kept boots secure in sucking mud. Soldiers could move with confidence, conserving energy and avoiding disaster. Medics used this lacing to treat early foot problems on the spot. In the war against the wet, this simple method was a lifesaver. Sometimes victory started with how you tied your boots. Today we look to technology for solutions, but sometimes the best answers are old ones. Tension zone lacing is practical wisdom, passed from soldier to soldier, not found in manuals. A sergeant would relace a recruit's boots, teaching by doing. This hands-on knowledge was once essential for survival. WWII soldiers relied on skill, not just equipment. Lacing boots right was as important as cleaning a rifle. We've lost touch with many of these skills, trusting gear over technique. But the lesson remains. Sometimes mastery comes from how you use what you have. The story of tension zone lacing is a reminder of the power of simple, hard-won knowledge. You might think this lacing method is obsolete, but it's alive among hikers and mountaineers today. Modern boots are high-tech, but the human foot hasn't changed. Experienced hikers use zonal lacing to prevent blisters, numbness, and toe injuries. A loose toe box, a locked-in heel, these tricks turn a good boot into a perfect one. In survival situations, your ability to walk is your ability to live. This skill weighs nothing, requires no gear, and can save your life. It's a direct link to the soldiers who first depended on it. Sometimes the best survival tool is knowledge. The wisdom of the past still walks with us today. The story of tension zone lacing is a quiet legacy from WWII. It's not about battles won with bullets, but miles conquered with ingenuity. This technique is a symbol of self-reliance and mastery. Soldiers adapted, innovated, and made their gear work for them. Today, when we lace our boots with care, we honor that tradition. It's a small act of mindfulness and respect for our own bodies. Let's not let this knowledge fade. Learn it, use it, and pass it on. Remember, loose for the toes, tight for the ankle, firm for the top. In every step, we carry forward a piece of history, laced into our boots.